Hi everybody, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, sitting next to Alexis Ware again this week. Thank you for being here again.
Yep, absolutely. Glad to be back
it.
again. And hi everyone, this week there is a free meals update you need to hear. Oxford Township raises rates. A local restaurant feels the sting of COVID.
All that and more, the Oxford News begins right now. Neighbors Feeding Neighbors, a group of volunteers who have been feeding up to 200 people a week since the pandemic began. They're moving from the United Methodist Church on Burdick. They have a new location. The meals organizer, Connie Miller, said the guests will see the same volunteer faces, same night and same time, but the group is now serving free hot meals plus groceries from the Emmanuel Congregational Church at number 1 Hovey Street. Miller asks guests to please line up at 5 p.m. in the lot at the west side of the building off Denison Street. Please do not block resident driveways, and if you have any questions or wish to donate food or wish to volunteer, call Connie at 248-933-4579. If you wish to drop off food, boxes are located at the Village Police Department, the DDA office, as well as Oxford Community Television at Seymour Lake Road. Alexis?
Thanks, Terry. For the first time in 7 years, the Oxford Township Board anonymously voted to raise sewer rates as of April 2021. This increases your quarterly flat rate for non-metered sewer customers to $110 per resident equivalent unit, formerly $86 per REU. Non-metered customers will pay an additional $24 per quarter, which equals another $8 per month for most residential users. Also, commercial metered sewer customers will see a new rate of $39.19 per 1,000 cubic feet from the original $30.64. It's important to note these increases only apply to properties connected to the township sewer system. They do not apply to the village sewer customers or properties with their own septic systems.
SocialCatfish.com wants people to be aware that a second stimulus check being distributed across America comes unprecedented online scams, which broke the $300 million milestone. Protect yourself from these 4 stimulus scams. Number 1, robocall check scammers pretending to be the IRS, asking for personal financial information, claiming they need it to deposit your check. Number 2, email and text scammers sending you a phishing text, claiming they are the government, telling you to click on the link to verify information. Do not click on any links mailed to you. The government already has your information. Number 3, clicking on suspicious links will download malware into or onto your device and steal your financial information and drain your account. Do not go to any website that does not end in .gov. Number 4, scammers have been mailing fake checks, and once deposited, the scammer texts you asking for some money back, claiming too much was sent. Ask your bank to verify your stimulus check. If you encounter a scam, contact local law enforcement or file a complaint with the FTC as soon as possible. Alexis?
Yes, in the village of Oxford is 1 police officer richer this week. Congratulations goes out to Officer James Irish, who was approved by council before coming on board as its 5th full-time village officer. Officer Irish has been working part-time with the department and has made over 44 arrests and stopped over 1,600 traffic violations, and is still with your emergency personnel. At the end of this month, the Oxford Fire Department will be minus a 30-year firefighter. Assistant Fire Chief Dave Critch will retire after protecting the lives of Oxford residents since 1986. According to township officials, Assistant Chief Critch possessed, in part, a tireless commitment to the department and held his position with professionalism, integrity, passion, and a willingness to sacrifice for the common good. Thank you for your service, Assistant Chief Critch.
With the opening up of restaurants last week and the completion of M24, it seems like things are beginning to look maybe approaching normal. The A&A Flores building is getting a facelift to further progress in the downtown area. New building owner Brett Nixon of Nixon Holdings LLC has shared his ideas of how he wants to revitalize number 6 North Washington Street. Built in 1892, the two-story building was the Florist for many years, and now Nixon is busy transforming this historical building into a mixed-use property with plans for the ground floor to serve as commercial space, while the second floor with housing 2 luxury apartments. Welcome to the community, Mr. Nixon.
And speaking of revitalizing M24, drivers need to be aware that there are pedestrian safety medians installed throughout the entire downtown area, and the signs on them are to warn drivers of the possibility that pedestrians will be standing on the median in order to cross M24 safely. The problem is that drivers keep running over the median, knocking out the warning sign. Because of this, because the medians are new and unexpected by some, and with the snow and rain we'll be experiencing in the coming months, please be aware that the medians and look carefully for on foot or pedestrians crossing M24 in all the areas besides the ones with traffic lights.
Good advice. The pandemic is not finished affecting our neighbors. Last week, Birdie's Indoor Golf and Bar temporarily lost their liquor license for violating the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services emergency order on gathering and face mask mandate. The establishment was visited by an investigator after receiving complaints by a customer that there were patrons in the golf stalls without masks. Additionally, patrons at the bar were not sitting 6 feet apart and eating food while Birdie's was not allowed to be serving. Violations of gatherings and face masks orders constitutes misdemeanors and are punishable by up to 6 months in prison and certain fines. An updated MDHHS gathering and face mask order allows indoor dining as of February 1st, 2020, subject to capacity, curfew, face masks, and social distancing and other restrictions. So pay attention when you get in there.
Last Saturday, the local group Neighbors Feeding Neighbors partnered with us here at Oxford Community Television to host a food drive for this Wednesday night. It's called Free Meals, headed by Connie Miller. Some of you may already know. To date, the drive netted more than $600 cash to purchase food and nearly 800 pounds of food. Until last week, Neighbors Feeding Neighbors has been providing free meals to up to 200 people every Wednesday night at the United Methodist Church on Burdick. Starting this week, on Wednesday, the group has been welcomed to serve at their new home at Emmanuel Congregational Church at number 1 Hovey. Nothing will change except the location. Free meals will be hot, and a supply of groceries per customer. That's on Wednesday. Free meals line starts at 5 p.m. at the Emmanuel Congregational Church on Hovey. Please enter at the west entrance off of Denison.
The Oakland County Sheriff's Substation will be getting a $70,000 upgrade, compliments of an Oxford-based company's generosity and community spirit. Independently owned Carport Structures Corporation of Oxford will be donating the construction and supplies for a 16-space carport for the deputies to park their patrol cars under. Owner Joe Suzor stated that they wanted to do something for the officers to show their support for the important work they do in keeping the community safe, and said considering everything law enforcement has gone through lately, it's been a motivator for them to do something to show their gratitude. Township Supervisor Jack Curtis said he is thankful but not surprised at the generosity of the donation, given the strong roots in the community since the 1970s, and they understand the value of giving back and helping their neighbors. The carport will be incorporated into a township plan to redesign and expand the substation's parking this coming year.
Also, 8-year-old Oxford resident Joey Bakari was one of 15 motocross riders from across the United States and the lone participant from Michigan to take part in the KTM Junior Supercross Series at the NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Last month, after jumping into the lead on the first corner, Joey finished third overall, earning him a spot on the podium. In the nearly 15,000-foot video screen in the third largest NFL interview, he told the crowd his favorite part of the track was the sand because of how beat up and challenging it was. Joey's goal is to qualify for the Monster Energy Amateur National Motocross Competition in August. Congratulations to your whole family.
That's a sweet story. For an 8-year-old, that's pretty good. That's kind of gutsy, isn't it? Well, that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or you can catch CJ Carnacchio on the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page. And thanks to both CJ and the Oxford Leader newspaper, and thanks to Alex for manning the cameras in the back. I really appreciate that, Alex.
Absolutely. Takes a team.
Yeah, it sure does.
I'm Alexis Ware, where we bring your news closer to home.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. The fictional Tony Stark may have died, but the car he drove in the biggest movie in global history, 2019's Avengers Endgame, will be available for the first time off the screen when it finally arrives in the U.S. Audi dealerships this summer. The production version of the 2022 Audi e-tron GT, a low-slung Porsche-derived four-door electric vehicle, will arrive in U.S. dealerships this summer after going on sale this spring in Europe. An upgraded sibling version, the RS e-tron GT, will also be available. Built in Germany in the same plant and on the same assembly line as the Audi R8 supercar, the e-tron GT will feature a net 86 kilowatt-hour battery pack used to power twin electric motors with a combined output of either 350 kilowatts or 440 kilowatts, depending on the configuration. Audi says the e-tron GT has a top speed in excess of 155 miles an hour and can charge to a range of more than 60 miles in as little as 5 minutes, depending on the charger. Audi on February 9th released specs for the e-tron GT. 469 net SAE combined horsepower or 522 horsepower with overboost, 464 foot-pounds of torque or 472 foot-pounds with overboost, and 238 estimated mile range and 5,060 pounds curb weight. The RS e-tron GT specs: 590 SAE combined horsepower or 637 horsepower with overboost, 612 foot-pounds of torque, the same with overboost, 232 mile range, and a curb weight of 5,139 pounds. Built on the same platform as the Porsche Taycan, the e-tron GT is Audi's third EV to make it to the U.S., following the e-tron compact crossover and the e-tron Sportback. The 5-seater is aerodynamically slippery with a drag coefficient of just 0.24 and equipped with an automated rear spoiler, with low-slung seating and riding on wheels measuring up to 21 inches, depending on the configuration. Inside, the Audi e-tron GT comes standard with the brand's top-level infotainment system and Audi PreSense driver assist package, as well as optional remote park assist. The instrument cluster is digital and resides on a 12.3-inch screen, while the infotainment system has its own 10.1-inch touchscreen. An Audi phone box, which augments the cell phone's antenna with the vehicles when the phone is charging wirelessly, and a premium Bang & Olufsen sound system are optional. Pricing for the 2022 Audi e-tron GT starts at $99,900, excluding delivery, which has not yet been finalized by Audi of America for 2022 model year cars. Pricing for the RS e-tron GT will start at $139,900, also excluding delivery, Audi said. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back. Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from New Scientist. NASA's latest Mars rover is approaching its final descent to the surface. Perseverance, the largest vehicle ever to attempt to land on the red planet, is due to touch down on February 18th. Landing on Mars is difficult. About 60% of the missions that have tried to date have failed. Perseverance will have a similar landing sequence to the Curiosity rover, which arrived successfully in 2012 with a heat shield and parachute slowing it down from 20,000 kilometers per hour to less than 4 kilometers per hour before a sky crane lowers the vehicle gently to the ground. Perseverance will land in Jezero crater, thought to be a dry lake bed, but we don't know the exact spot. Because of that and the rugged landscape, Jezero was thought to be too dangerous to land in, but Perseverance has a new navigation system that will take pictures as it nears the surface and autonomously pick a safe-looking landing spot. Part of the Perseverance's scientific load is to look for evidence of current or past life on Martian surface. However, even with its sophisticated scientific instruments, it is unlikely that the rover will be able to confirm signs of life with 100% certainty. That's why the other part of the mission is to grab samples of dust and rocks, carefully package them in 43 test tubes that the rover carries in its belly, and leave them behind on the surface of Mars. Then, another mission that is currently planned for 2026 will pick them up and bring them back to Earth. Bringing the samples back also has another benefit. It may act as sort of a dress rehearsal for crewed missions to Mars, which will presumably mean bringing people back from the red planet after sending them there. And also, the Chinese Tianwen-1 mission has entered orbit around the red planet following the United Arab Emirates HOPE orbiter by just 1 day and preceding the landing of NASA's Perseverance rover by a week. Reaching orbit is just the first step of the Tianwen-1 mission, which took off from the Wenchang launch site in Hainan, China on July 23rd last year. Tianwen-1 will take pictures of the landing site from orbit and make sure conditions are safe. If everything looks clear, the lander will be released. It'll hurtle through the Martian surface towards the Martian surface, slowing down with the help of a cone-shaped heat shield and a parachute before a set of rockets brings it softly to rest on the ground around May. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.